USFL news. Daryl Johnston was on the radio. He talked about maybe a team in San Antonio in year two, but the importance of getting to year two is the key. I'm on the speculative front based on what I've been kind of hearing and listening to. I think the USFL is fine for year one. I'm just not really sold on year two. Daryl Johnston, the executive vice president of football operations, was a guest on the Blitz on ESPNSA with Jason Minnix. Blitz is based in Texas, in San Antonio. So, of course, the question comes up about the USFL team in San Antonio. Of course, Daryl Johnston was part of the San Antonio Commanders. He says, quote, yes, not in the original rollout. The San Antonio Gunslingers are one of the teams from the USFL. We're hoping to have success this time and push this into season 2, season 3, and hopefully as that starts to happen, we can bring back some of the other franchises that were part of the USFL and San Antonio because of the response we had for the AAF Commanders. Now remember, the XFL did have talks with the city of San Antonio before the league officially closed its doors, so don't rule out a possible move by the Roughnecks or Renegades to that city. Johnson agrees that San Antonio, of course, is a good football town. Johnson has pull in the USFL 2.0, and he surely use it if the league expands. He said, quote, you've got a huge supporter and huge fan of San Antonio sports community that's in the decision-making area of the USFL. Clearly, he could help it out. The question for both the USFL and the XFL is the importance of getting past that first season. We know the AAF closed shop due to its lack of funding. The XFL closed its doors because of you know what this go around. It's imperative that if the USFL can make it to year 2, a big hurdle for the league's overall health is achieved. Quote, I thought that people would be hesitant to be part of the USL just because of the failures of the other 2 leagues, but I think they are recognizing that if it weren't for some very strange circumstances, some self-inflicted, some outside of the control getting to a year 2, I think really proves that there's an opportunity for this to work. I think the way we have everything structured so far this time, going to one host city and minimizing the expenses coming out there in year 1 and really concentrating and focusing on the product, the quality of football, and the quality of the football players in our league, the distribution of the product to the fans around the country. Really going to be hyper-focused on those important areas to try to grow the support for the USFL. Then once we leave that whole city and the teams go back to their homes, that will give them a year to kind of build excitement for those teams to arrive in the host city. Remember, the USFL will hit the field Friday, April 15th, 2022. Of course, stay tuned to XFL News Hub for all this stuff. My only take on this is I agree with him. Year 2 is super important. Concentrating on the football and the game on the field, yes, that is important. But I'm just not so sure about the business side of things. I get the whole, not having it in a hub city to save money. I'm just not sold. I need to hear some more names out there that are really going to help and push this league. The ratings will be fine. The quality of the football will be fine. It's really business model against business model. The USFL's hub city model or it's the XFL's model. We'll just have to stay tuned and find out, my friends. Pat McAfee was asked to kick in the USFL. This part of me was like, what? So McAfee was on his show and he was talking that he was approached by an executive from Fox Sports. He asked the 34-year-old if he wanted to kick in the new USFL. Now, I would assume the guy was joking, but according to McAfee, he didn't think the guy was joking at all and considered it a slap in the face, considering he has declined NFL deals recently. He said, quote, I was actually approached by somebody at Fox asking if I wanted to kick in the USFL, McAfee said last week. I said, that's one of the biggest smacks in the mouth I've ever received. If I'm kicking, I'm not kicking in the bleeping USFL. I'm 34 years old. What are we even talking about here? I'll play quarterback in the bleeping USFL. You can see the full clip on XFL News Hub's pretty funny. He went on to say that he'd consider owning a team and that he is not a fan of the Pittsburgh Maulers logo. It needs to be black and gold like the other Pittsburgh sports. McAfee, of course, was part of the XFL's broadcast crew as a sideline reporter, but later said the job was not for me. No word on if McAfee will be part of any Fox broadcast. Judging from his reaction, though, I'm going to say McAfee is not going to have anything to do with the USFL.